You know, there's something truly remarkable that unfolds when two people who have genuinely awakened to their real nature come face to face. It isn't what the romantic stories depict. It isn't what spiritual circles usually talk about. It's something far more delicate, far more profound, and in many ways far more beautiful than anything we've been trained to anticipate. Most relationships, if we're honest, are rooted in a sort of mutual incompleteness. Two individuals join together because each senses that something is absent, something is lacking, and the other appears to offer the promise of filling that emptiness. This is what we typically label as falling in love. But it's really falling into need. It's two halves attempting to become a whole. Two empty vessels trying to pour into each other, two drowning souls gripping one another in hopes of staying above water. And there's nothing inherently wrong with this. This is the space where most of humanity resides. And such relationships can function just fine, even pleasantly. But they rest on a basic misunderstanding. They rest on the belief that you are incomplete, that happiness exists somewhere outside you, that another person can supply what you feel is missing within yourself. But when two awakened beings meet, something entirely different is set in motion. And the first thing you must grasp is that awakened souls do not need one another. Let me repeat that because it's essential. They do not need each other. They are already whole. They have already discovered that the fullness they sought was never beyond themselves. They understand that they are not limited, separate entities requiring another to complete them. They are the universe itself, living through a particular form. So when such individuals encounter one another, they're not uniting to fill a void. They're coming together because they choose to, not because they must. And this simple difference alters everything. The entire nature of the relationship is transformed when it's founded on choice instead of need, on preference instead of desperation, on celebration instead of compensation. Consider it this way. When you're starving, truly starving, you'll eat almost anything. You're not savoring the food. You're simply trying to silence the hunger. But when you're already nourished, already full, then if you decide to eat, it becomes pure delight. You notice every flavor, admire every texture, you eat for the joy of eating, not to patch an emptiness. This is what happens when awakened souls come together. They're not using one another, they're not trying to draw something out of each other to fill inner gaps. They are simply enjoying one another, appreciating one another, celebrating the wonder of consciousness, recognizing itself in a different form. And here's what's captivating. Because neither person needs the other, because neither clings or grasps or demands, there is a kind of freedom in the relationship that most people never get to feel. Each person is entirely free to be themselves, to shift, to expand, to move. There is no sense of ownership, no fear of loss, no frantic need to control or reshape the other into some mental image of who they should be. When an awakened individual looks at another awakened individual, they are not seeing someone required to complete them. They are witnessing the universe gazing back at itself. They are recognizing that the awareness shining through those eyes is the same awareness shining through their own. It is one consciousness experiencing itself from two distinct viewpoints, playing a subtle cosmic game of hide and seek. This recognition creates a very special kind of intimacy. It is not the desperate, gripping intimacy of two people terrified of being alone. It is not the dramatic intensity of two egos striving to merge and losing themselves in the attempt. It's something far more expansive, far more at ease. It's the intimacy of two dancers who trust each other utterly, who don't need to cling to stay steady, who can move freely while still remaining perfectly attuned. Let me tell you what does not occur when two awakened souls meet. There's no drama. Oh, there may be passion, there may be intensity, but there is no drama in the neurotic sense. No games, no manipulation, no power battles. No frantic attempts to reshape the other because both have seen through the ego's illusion. They're not playing that game with each other. There's no jealousy, or at least no possessive kind. An awakened person may feel a brief spark of jealousy because they are still human, but they don't cling to it. They don't turn it into a narrative. They don't wield it as a tool. They see it for what it is, a passing emotion, a ripple on the surface of awareness. Nothing beyond that. There is no fear of abandonment because the awakened one knows they can never truly be abandoned. They know that even if the other walks away, they remain complete, still whole, still linked to the universe itself. They might feel sorrow at a relationship's ending, but they don't plunge into that existential dread that comes from believing something essential to survival has been lost. And perhaps most significantly, there is no attempt to own the other. The awakened soul understands you cannot possess another person any more than you can hold the wind or the sea or the sky. The other is free, has always been free, will always be free. And instead of seeing this as danger, the awakened one finds it beautiful. They're not trying to trap a bird, they are admiring its ability to soar. So what does take place when two awakened souls meet? First comes recognition. It's often immediate. Not in the sentimental sense of love at first sight, but in a deeper sense of I see your true nature and you see mine. There's a kind of clarity that emerges. All the usual roles, all the practiced behaviors, all the ego defenses fall away. Both can settle effortlessly into their authentic being. This recognition produces a very distinct quality of communication. When awakened souls speak, they aren't merely trading information or guarding positions or trying to impress. They're playing. They're discovering. They're dancing with thoughts and viewpoints. They can disagree entirely without it disturbing their bond because they're not fused with their ideas. They are not their thoughts. They are the awareness in which thoughts take shape. There is also a deep respect, not the surface-level courtesy of manners, but a profound acknowledgement of the mystery that each being is. The awakened one knows they cannot fully grasp another person, can never entirely know them, and they make no attempt to. They allow the other to stay mysterious, to remain unpredictable, to astonish them. They're not trying to decode the other so they can control or influence them. They're simply honoring the riddle. When two awakened souls share space, there are often long intervals of easy silence. They feel no need to fill every gap with speech. They're at peace simply being near each other. The quiet isn't tense or empty. It is full, rich, alive. They are communing beyond language consciousness, resting with consciousness, awareness delighting in awareness. And when words finally come, there's a quality of listening that is rare. Each person is truly hearing, not merely waiting for their turn, not filtering everything through their own narratives or expectations. They're open, attentive, sincerely interested in the other's viewpoint, even if it's utterly different from their own. There's also a kind of humor that arises when awakened souls meet. They can laugh together at the cosmic joke. They can recognize the absurdity of existence, the sheer improbability of awareness, the strange and playful game that life keeps unfolding. They don't take themselves too seriously. They can laugh at their own egos, at their own patterns, at the human theater that they are both part of. Physical intimacy, when it happens between awakened souls, carries an entirely different essence. It isn't about need or conquest or reassurance. It isn't about using another body to avoid your own inner emptiness. It becomes a celebration, a dance, a form of play. It is consciousness exploring consciousness through the medium of form. There is no performance pressure because neither is trying to prove a point. There is no disconnection because both are utterly present, utterly aware, utterly alive to the moment. And here's something intriguing. Awakened souls can be together or apart with equal comfort. They don't cling to constant closeness. They understand that nearness and distance both hold value, that space can nourish just as much as union. They can offer each other distance without it implying rejection. They can come together without it implying ownership. The relationship has a natural rhythm, like inhaling and exhaling, coming close and moving away. And neither phase is judged as better or worse. When conflict appears, as it inevitably will, even among awakened souls, it unfolds differently. There's no hunger to be right, no urge to conquer. Both people care more about understanding than being understood, more about harmony than winning. They can admit their faults without it shaking their identity. They can apologize without bitterness. They can forgive without keeping a tally. There is also a deep generosity woven into the relationship, not the strained generosity of someone trying to earn affection, but the effortless generosity of someone already whole. The awakened soul gives freely because giving itself is joyful, not because they expect reward. They encourage the other's growth even when that growth leads somewhere new. They want the other to become fully themselves, even if that means moving beyond the relationship. And this leads to a vital understanding. When two awakened souls meet, they recognize that the relationship may not last forever, and they are at peace with that. They're not trying to bind it, to secure it, to ensure it lasts until death. They're experiencing it now, completely, wholeheartedly, without projecting into the future or clutching at the past. And ironically, this absence of attachment often allows the relationship to endure longer and develop more deeply than relationships built on fear and need. There is also a sense of surrender woven through the connection. Not one person yielding to the other, but both yielding to something greater than themselves. They allow life to move through them, to express itself through their bond. They don't force the relationship into any particular shape. They let it be what it is, let it unfold in its own timing, trusting the unfolding. When awakened souls share a life, they inspire the best in one another, but not through criticism or pressure or attempts to fix each other. They do it simply by being themselves, by showing what it truly looks like to live authentically, by offering a space where the other naturally feels safe to set down their masks and defenses. Each person's awakening expands the other's awakening. It's a kind of resonance, like two tuning forks humming at the same pitch, amplifying one another. There is also a sense of sacred ordinariness woven into the relationship. Everything becomes meaningful. Even the simple acts, washing dishes together, sitting in traffic, paying bills. These ordinary moments become saturated with presence, with awareness, with the understanding that this moment, exactly as it is the only moment there ever truly is. They're not waiting for a special future to feel alive. They're discovering the extraordinary in the ordinary, the sacred in the mundane. And here's something unexpected. Awakened souls can feel every emotion that everyone else feels. They feel attraction, affection, and even jealousy, anger, sadness. But they don't cling to these emotions. They don't turn them into problems. They don't craft stories around them. They feel them fully, completely, and then allow them to move on. It's like weather drifting across the sky. The sky doesn't grasp at storms or try to chase away sunlight. It lets both arrive and depart. When two awakened souls meet, there is also an understanding that the relationship is not about personal fulfillment. It isn't about completing one another or manufacturing happiness together. It's about something far greater. It's about consciousness discovering itself, the universe experiencing itself within relationship, life expressing itself through the dance of two beings who have remembered their true nature. There's a well-known Zen saying, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." The same principle applies to relationships. Before awakening, you relate to another person. After awakening, you relate to another person. The outward actions may appear identical, but the inner quality, the inner experience, is utterly transformed. The awakened relationship is not exempt from challenges. There are still practical matters to handle, differences to bridge, adjustments to make. But these challenges are not viewed as problems. They are seen as invitations for deeper clarity, for broader wisdom, for fuller presence. Every difficulty becomes a guide. Every conflict becomes an opening into greater consciousness. And perhaps most beautifully, when two awakened souls meet, they generate a field of consciousness that influences everyone around them. Their shared presence carries a quality others can sense even if they cannot name it. It is peaceful, but not passive. Joyful, but not frantic. Loving, but not dependent. It radiates outward, touching all who come near it, gently reminding others of their own true essence. This is what unfolds when two awakened souls meet. Not fireworks or chaos or the desperate clinging of neurotic love, but something far more precious. A meeting of two beings who remember what they are, who see the divine in one another, who can dance together without stumbling, who can be entirely together and entirely free at once. It is a relationship not built on need, but on celebration, not on ownership, but on appreciation. Not on fear, but on trust. Not on becoming, but on being. And in this being together, in this shared recognition, in this dance of consciousness with consciousness, something profound becomes clear. Love is not something that happens between two separate beings, but the awareness that there are no two separate beings, there never were, and there never could be.